I'm upset right now, and you know why. Berserk will be taking a break starting next issue. Serialization is planned to resume this winter. Please look forward to it. That fucking sucks. The time Hunter x Hunter comes back, Berserk goes on hiatus. Kentaro, man, you killing me. I mean, as I've always said, Berserk is a quality series, so I think we can all agree when Kentaro goes on break, I'm willing to bet you he's probably spending that time thinking about where he can take the story, probably, drafting his chapters and stuff like that, so I understand. Berserk is not a series you can crank out consistently every single month, probably, because of just the quality of the writing. It's a masterpiece. That's exactly what it is. That's how I consider Berserk. It's a masterpiece when it comes to writing, especially in the manga world, so it sucks it's going on break. I'm sad. I admit I am very sad, but at the same time, if this means a quality chapter this Christmas, then I guess I'm willing to wait. It sucks. I hate it, but I'm willing to wait for a quality chapter, especially for what we're probably about to get in next chapter, because this cliffhanger is a dick move, and yes, pun intended because of this chapter. So, yeah, at the very least, though, Berserk was confirmed to have an official return date. It could be like Hunter x Hunter. Think about it. Like, you could say, we will be on an indefinite hiatus next chapter. We don't know when it'll be back. 2 years pass, we finally have the next chapter come out. So, at the very least, Kentaro isn't pulling, a Togashi and making us wait like a year or two without any known date at all. At the very least, we know it will return winter. So, there's already a set date. Now, that's the thing I'm curious about. Why is it coming back winter? Like, why is he taking a break now and then coming back winter? I'm assuming the anime of Berserk has ended or whatever, season 2. I'm assuming it's ended because I know anime is starting to wrap up right now. I'm assuming it ended. That's my thing I'm assuming right now. So if Berserk ended, that's probably why the manga is going on hiatus for now. Maybe he's working on, a season 3 for the Berserk anime, even though the Berserk anime is a mistake and kind of shit, but maybe that's why he's coming back in winter, because Berserk Season 3 will probably come out around winter or something, because that's what happened with, Season 2. When, Season 1 ended, Berserk went on hiatus, and then it came back when Season 2 of Berserk came back, so that could be what's going on there. But anyways, though, let's talk about this chapter, okay? So it's the final chapter. It's a very short chapter, it's a very short chapter. It's very straightforward, and honestly, there's a lot of things in this to where there's some symbolism and meaning and stuff that, honestly, if you reread Berserk a lot, you reread The Eclipse, Volume 13, and all of that, you will catch a lot of the symbolism in this, chapter that came out. And this entire, little, inside of Casca's mind arc has been a trip down memory lane. We've gotten to see events from the earlier days of Berserk, the Golden Age and stuff, prior to, the Eclipse, and so it's kind of been like a refresher, we're seeing how much, our characters have changed, what they've been through, and it just shows how much development they've gotten, and so with all these different little panels and scenes throughout this chapter, once again, it's more of a, trip down memory lane, it's nostalgia, and it's a very good chapter for that, because it shows how Kentaro has evolved as a writer over the years, and you can see how he's improved himself with how he displays his writing. Many like to look at Berserk like this, Berserk was at its peak in the Golden Age arc, and then it kind of fell downhill, and it was kind of it's not as good as it once was. People could still consider it a masterpiece, but many say it's not as good as it was prior to the Eclipse, which I completely disagree. As time goes on with Berserk, it's matured. It's definitely matured as a series. It's a series that has shown that it's not all about just being completely edgy. There's some edgy scenes in Berserk, let's just be completely real here, but Kentaro has matured as a writer to where you can just see how he takes the time for this build-up and all that, and clearly all this slow build-up we've been getting throughout these volumes, all of these volumes recently, has probably been for this very critical moment in this series, with Casca regaining her memories, or denying of getting her memories back, because that is a possibility. So, let's talk about kind of the concept of what's going on in this chapter. So, obviously, you have it to where Farnese and Shodake, as they're journeying with, the Hound, which is Guts, they continue to push closer and closer to the summit to where the eclipse happened in Casca's, actual viewpoint. And it's in her mind, we're seeing how she viewed it and how the terrain, as she gets closer and closer to this certain point, the center of it all, the terrain is getting worse and worse. You have it to where, like, the forest just looks disgusting. You just see corpses all over the ground. You see skulls, ribs, and just bones all over the place, littering the place. Entrails, forest of entrails. The way the forest looks, it looks just like death or something from a demonic dimension or something. So it's kind of just showcasing how the eclipse was to Casca and how it really warped her mind, which we know the eclipse was something very brutal and no individual should witness at all, because that's just how fucked up it was. So it makes a lot of sense that, the imagery that ends in Casca's mind and what she's, thinking of and how she views the eclipse, it makes sense. And obviously, the closer and closer they get to the point they need to go to where it all began, where Griffith was born as Femto, we're encountering creatures that resemble more along the lines of Casca's trauma, which this entire chapter really was nothing but Kentaro drawing dick monsters. Okay, just, long story short, literally the chapter is a bunch of dick monsters coming after Farnese and Shirake and trying to stop their journey. That's seriously the perfect summary of this chapter. It just, oh my god. I thought when the first creature popped up, like the little centipede worm, dick monster popped up, I thought, Kentaro's trying to be very subtle, use a symbolic meaning of just, a dick or something, because he does that type of stuff. He has done that in the past. I was like, oh, you're being very subtle with the way, the head and all that looks. But then, all of a sudden, after that, you have creatures that straight up have dick arms, dick legs, dick head, and all that, and you just see the veins, the veiny dick. I'm like, bro, are you serious right now? Are you serious, Kentaro? This man straight up went to a heinous level with drawing dicks and stuff in this chapter, and it's just it's kind of fucked up seeing Farnese and Shirake, these two characters, we know how they are personality-wise, just fighting off dicks. It's just I never thought in a million years I would see something like that, but let alone seeing a giant golem fighting off a giant tentacle dick monster. Just only in Berserk you see shit like that. Only in Berserk would you see a giant tentacle dick monster trying to beat the shit out of a golem, but also seeing our two characters trying to fight off dicks. And we're not talking about fighting off dicks because they don't want to have sex. We're just saying fighting off dick monsters. And just... yeah, only Berserk, only Kentaro can write something like this and make it work, honestly. Because if this would have been any other series, I would have felt like this was just the writer being very perverted and just, having pointless things in here with imagery and stuff, but that's not the case. I mean, the way this was written in, it fits with the theme of Berserk, but it also fits with what's going on with Casca, because one of the big things about Casca's trauma isn't the fact that it was just the eclipse, it was the fact that she was raped by Griffith, if we remember. I mean, that's fucked up. I mean, think about it like this, okay? Before Casca was even raped by Griffith, we can kind of assume, because of previous little flashbacks and glimpses to the eclipse and all that with Casca, we can assume that Casca was already raped prior to Griffith coming in and raping her in front of Guts. For instance, the other demons were already having their way with her at the time, which is represented perfectly in this chapter, especially the tentacle monster wrapping up its tentacle dick arms or whatever around the golem. It represents Casca when she was bound and being held down by the tentacles in the eclipse. So it's just showcasing certain scenes that Casca had to go through. And it's obvious that she was probably already raped at the time before Griffith came up, and that's what all these creatures are trying to symbolize. The dick doesn't just represent Femto, okay? It represents everything that happened to her, but mainly, though, it's understandable why she would be like that, because, I mean, something like that, that's probably traumatizing, getting raped by these grotesque, monstrous beings and stuff, and then all of a sudden, someone you looked up to and you loved just doing that to you, and then doing that in front of someone you love and you have a child with, that's gonna fuck you up mentally. So, Casca having this imagery in her head, it completely fits with the theme. And so, I know many are gonna make dick jokes, or that was a dick move with the cliffhanger or whatever, I know it's gonna happen, but all of that, funny stuff aside, it definitely fits with Casca's mind, and just I can't believe, out of everything, I mean, only Berserk can do something that quality. Because, I mean, normally a series couldn't, you know, add something like this and make it actually work and make sense in terms of what the story has. So just, I gotta give, you know, Berserk props where it's due, especially with how these monsters were done. Now, speaking of the art, okay, besides dick jokes and stuff, the art quality of this, it reminded me a lot of the, Golden Age arc. Like, you know, the entire part when demons were introduced and we saw the eclipse, or all of that, this reminded me a lot of that, in terms of the artwork, the way the paneling was done, and all that. I mean, obviously, there's some improvements, because Kentaro has improved over the years, in decades, actually, when it comes to his, you know, writing and drawing. So, I mean, it's obviously, it does look better, but it reminded me a lot of that style, though, especially with how some of the creatures were drawn, and I was like, damn, like, this man clearly hasn't lost, like, his darker side to himself, because many have been complaining about Berserk, saying like, oh, it's, you know, very lighthearted, there's not a lot of darkness going on anymore. Well, you're getting that shit. I mean, look at this, what this chapter was. This was clearly not for people under 18. I mean, all the creatures were literally dicks. Okay, so, anyways, let's talk about one of the most unexpected things in this chapter, and that was Mozgus. Mozgus popping up from Farnese. She summons fucking Mozgus's head. His face. Oh my god, like, that is... Okay, like, let me just describe this. This is what he says. Swift is heaven's vengeance. And then the man sucks in these dick gorilla things and just eats them. It puts a whole new meaning of eating a dick, or dick grinder. It's grinding the fucking like fucking Guitar was savage. Like, this man is savage. Mosk is straight up eating fucking dicks, dude. Fucking bulgy dicks. Like, bro. Like, bro, I never would have thought I would have saw something like that in Berserk. I mean, look, I know seeing dicks is probably regular in Berserk, that's fine, but I just never would have thought I would have saw Mozgus character just consuming dicks, just, oh my god, God press too, he literally says God press as he's just fucking grinding these, oh my god, like, bro. Bro, it's so messed up on so many levels. It's so messed up. I love it how Farnese and Shiratake, they don't say anything. They don't even say what these creatures look like. They don't. And that's what makes this even funnier, is they don't even say what these creatures look like in the first place. And I wonder if Kentaro's making them oblivious, or he just doesn't want them to say it in the first place. And just like, bro, it's funny, just the way that was done. But anyways, though, they get closer and closer to, you know, the center where, you know, they need to go to get the final part of, you know, Casca's memory. And when they get there, they eventually ask or say, like, wait, this world seems like it doesn't want to, you know, wake up. It's like Casca's mind is rejecting us, which implies what we've all been thinking for a while. For many chapters now, in the recent chapters that came out, many of us talked about how Casca most likely, she doesn't want to wake up. She doesn't want to face reality. She doesn't want to face the truth. She doesn't want to face what's really going on. She wants to stay like she is, you know, stay to where she is like an infant. She doesn't want to, you know, go into a world of pain. She doesn't want to be suffering the entire time, and so she'd rather be like she is lying to herself, and so she doesn't want to wake up at all. And that's what this is being implied with. Like, in this chapter, that was implied that that's what Casca wants. She does not want to wake up. So there is a possibility once Casca finally meets whoever she wants to meet, like the little tiny Casca, when she meets whoever she wants to meet, it can be either Griffith or her child. Regardless, though, there is still a possibility when she wakes up that she might actually say, fuck you guys, get out of my mind, and then just stay like she is. She doesn't want to wake up. I mean, that is a thing, too. I mean, I think at the end of the day, before anything happens, what it's really going to come down to is if Casca wants to accept reality and remember everything and not deny anything. Because, I mean, they can do whatever they want. They can collect all the memories, the pieces, and all of that for this tiny Casca, but it won't help jack shit if Casca doesn't want to wake up. Because, remember, at the end of the day, this is her mind. This is what's going on in her head. So if she doesn't want to wake up, she doesn't want to wake up. Nothing's going to stop that. So I feel like there might be something that can happen with that. I mean, once, they collect all the pieces, Casca will remember everything, and she's like, you know what, I don't want to remember it. She doesn't accept it, and she just falls back into what she is. Or, the other path she'll take, which we've also discussed as a lot of us, is that if she does wake up, or she's forced to wake up, and she doesn't want to, she can either try to kill herself, because she doesn't want to accept everything that happened. She might try to commit suicide, because she's had a fucked up life. Or she will be like Guts was in, the Black Swordsman arc. For instance, how he had a lot of anger, how he just didn't care about his well-being at all, and he just charged in trying to kill Griffith and the Apostles. That could be what Casca wants to do. She could turn out very similar to that, to showcase how much Guts has changed as a character, but how she is right now and how she needs to change as well. So, I mean, Kintaro could take that path for Casca's character as well. So, she could either go down a path similar to Guts, she can want to kill herself because she just doesn't want to accept everything that's happened, or she'll just want to stay brain dead. She doesn't want to remember anything. So, those are the possible courses of action that could happen. So, yeah. Anyways, though, that's about it with the chapter. Like I said, it's a very straightforward chapter. Art is godlike, like always, when it comes to Berserk. Some of the best art in manga, in my personal opinion. And so, yeah, that's about it. I mean, it sucks that, this video is kind of short, because it's a very simple chapter. I mean, like I said, there's images and stuff that represent some of the apostles and stuff in, the Eclipse arc, but besides that, which is pretty obvious, I mean, if you've read the Eclipse, or if it's been scarred in your mind, which you probably should have, I mean, honestly, I think everything's pretty straightforward, so I don't think I really need to dive too deeply into it. The only thing I can say right now is with this final part on the hill, whatever could be in that egg, it either is Griffith, which most likely, or it's, Casca and Guts' child. One or the other, because those are the only two things it could possibly be. So I'm excited to see the reveal of that. We'll finally find out probably in winter, and so, yeah, winter can't get here soon enough, and it's going to be a long wait, but it's worth the wait for quality content, so I think we can all agree with that. So this is going to be my last Berserk video for a while, so I'm going to miss you guys, because I know a lot of you guys that watch these videos, not all of you watch my other videos. Some of you are just strictly Berserk fans, which I understand completely. I mean, that's how a lot of my other video reviews are, and so you guys that only watch my Berserk videos are going to be waiting until, winter when, the next chapter comes out. You guys have a very good time and be safe, and I love you, and, make sure you just appreciate what we get for now, and then let's just, wait for when the quality content starts back up again in, winter. So, peace, farewell, and yeah, I'm going to miss Berserk, because it's a quality series, my favorite series of all time. Sucks I'm not going to be able to talk about it. So, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.